Generally, that type of musty is comorbid with musty dog. Everybody, I am Telly Tell and welcome back to my channel for my oldies but goodies. Thank you so much and I'm so glad to see you. If you are new to this channel came across your FYP page for a reason. Please subscribe to us. We are a community that talks about beauty, self-care, hygiene, and all things for people who love to smell good. Anyway, today's topic is a topic that I have discussed on TikTok and I realize that I have not discussed it here on YouTube, and it's something that I think that you guys will enjoy. On TikTok, we've been talking about some level up tips for the fall, and one of my most, popular topics is the topic of staying fresh and clean and not being musty. So today I bring you the Musty Curve. It might sound like it's funny, but it's something that I came up with that breaks down the art of being musty and the art of preventing it. So if you want to see what I have to say about the Musty Curve and avoiding being musty, stay tuned. Okay, so what is the Musty Curve? I'm gonna put a little ghetto picture up here so that you can have a visual as I'm talking about it. But the Musty Curve is something that I came up with that helps you when it comes to preventing being musty and also helping circumvent yourself when you have become musty. I like to present the Musty Curve on a normative curve, but that curve can look a little bit different if you are in what I call musty adjacent states. And that is states such as Texas, Florida, sometimes Tennessee, New Orleans, those really hot southern sticky type of states. And most people's curve look like the regular normative curve, but if you are in those musty adjacent states, your curve may be a little bit shorter, which to me is my way of saying that you have to be more cognizant of your body, because you could go from point A to point D really, really fast. So let's define the points on the musty curve. There's point A, there's point B, there's point C, and then there's point D. D I'll call donin, because that means that you are so musty that you are beyond the point of control. But we'll get to that in a minute. Point A is the point that we all start with when we are fresh out of the shower. This is after you have freshly applied deodorant and you're good. You don't necessarily need to reapply deodorant at this point, but I did put it on the curve because we always have to have a starting point. And then there is part B, point B. Point B is the point where you start to get a little frowsy here, and that's a little bit up or on the curve, like right here on that curve. You're starting to get a little frowsy. It's not a musty state right there, but it's the frowsy state right there. And for some people, we actually kind of skip past this not knowing, because for the most part, if our arms are down, we're not smelling anything because we're not smelling musty. But then there is part C, which is the part right before that curve, which is the point of no return, which we'll get into that in a minute. Point C and point B is the point to where the best intervention can take place. This is where if you are a little tart but not necessarily musty, and you are musty, this is the place to where you want to do some things that can help you further prevent going over that curve or that point of no return. I like to monitor myself throughout the day. Let's just start there. And that means like just kind of doing a little check here and there. I don't necessarily like do it every hour or whatever, but I have a low impact job, so I don't necessarily have to do a lot of like heavy lifting or a lot of movement. But sometimes I'll have a situation where I'm nervous, or I'll have meetings, things like that. And after those meetings and I notice that my underarms are a little wet or I'm a little hotter than I normally am, I'll just kind of do a little sniff when I go to the bathroom. That is something that you definitely want to do to keep track of where you are on the musty curve. Going back to point B. Point B is that point, again, where you have not necessarily smelt the must, but you might have just not taking the time to smell yourself and sniff yourself throughout the day. So you are at a point to where you may not necessarily know. When you get to point C is musty. The best intervention that takes place is between B and C. Okay, the interventions that I like to suggest is reapplying deodorant. Some people, they're just fine reapplying the deodorant. For me, I like to wash my deodorant off And you could do this several ways. A baby wipe, please don't flush those. They are not septic safe. They are not septic safe, I should say. Also, you can, if you got your whole bag to go bag, you never know bag. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go back to my other video so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And take a wet wipe and then wipe really well. Or you can take a wipe and then put a little bit of soap on there, a little bit of water, and then just wash that deodorant off. Starting with the fresh base is always good because it allows the deodorant to work well, and it also allows you to remove the smells or any bacteria that you have that has caused you from being musty. Okay. So not only do I like to apply deodorant when I get to part B or in between B and C, I also like to apply a little bit of dusting powder. We've talked about dusting powder as well, but a talc-free dusting powder, because your deodorant is going to take care. I'm aluminum-free deodorant, so my deodorant just takes care of like the scent thing going on, but it doesn't prevent me from sweating. So while I have the deodorant taking care of the scent, I use my dusting powder to help me stay fresh and dry. I hope y'all still following me here. So I actually suggest it for anybody, whether you use an aluminum free or not, but having a deodorant and then coupling it with a dusting powder, it is like double duty. If you intervene between B and C, that brings you right back down underneath B. If you don't intervene between B and C, like I just suggested, many of us, we could just wash off, we can wash up and then start all over. It was a girl in my comments who even said putting on a little bit of hand sanitizer if you don't have access to soap and water, and just getting off of those germs and that bacteria can help as well. I've tried that in the past. It comes in clutch. But once you are musty, you just can't go and put on deodorant on top of it. Sometimes you can't even just use a wet wipe. You just have to go in and remove the deodorant and any smells that are there, because otherwise it will not be effective. So we've talked about point A, of course, we've talked about point B, and now we've talked about point C, which is the point of musty. Now, right at the top of that curve, that is the point of no return. That will drop you right into don't is don't even go nowhere. Don't even do nothing but go home and take a shower. That is the point to where you're done. You're done for the day. I'm not even gonna give you any other suggestions, because there is a type of musty that once you get too deep in, which is right when you get to that point of no return, it literally, there's nothing that can help you at that point but going ahead and taking a shower. And generally that type of musty is comorbid with musty all over. Musty in between the thighs, musty in between the butt, not only just under the arms. And at that point you want to make sure you're taking care of everything. Anyway, I know this is a short video, but I love talking about the musty curve. People on TikTok loved hearing about the musty curve, and every time I go live somebody is asking like, the musty curve, LOL, the musty curve. And I just wanted to make sure that I shared that with y'all as well. If you have any further questions or you want me to elaborate even more, please do so. I have another video where we will talk about aluminum free deodorants, and I will talk about some of my favorites as well. If you have made it this far and you have not subscribed, why? If you have made it this far and you are subscribed, you are a real one, and I will see y'all next time.